Why tiny habits matter more than big goals. I used to believe that success was all about setting big, ambitious goals. That if I just had the right plan, the right motivation, and the right mindset, I could make massive changes overnight. But I was wrong. You need to change your approach, because the truth is, we do not become successful because of our goals. We become successful because of our habits. Just think about it. The person who is fit does not just wake up one day and decide to be healthy. They consistently make small choices, choosing water over soda, taking the stairs instead of the elevator, exercising even when they don't feel like it. The person who is confident and successful didn't just wake up that way. They built their confidence over time through small acts of courage, discipline, and self-belief, action upon action. Every action we take is a vote for the kind of person we're becoming. The way we spend our mornings, how we react to stress, the small decisions we make every day. These habits shape our identity far more than a single moment of motivation ever could. And that's what we're going to explore today. How small, consistent habits can completely reshape your life, because the secret to success is not found in massive changes. It is hidden in the tiny, seemingly insignificant actions you repeat every day. Before we dive in, I want to share something with you. If you've ever struggled with self-doubt, if you've ever felt like your own thoughts were holding you back, I wrote a book just for you. Get Out of Your Head is available now on Amazon in paperback, Kindle, and audiobook formats. It's all about silencing your inner critic, overcoming fear, and breaking free from self-limiting beliefs. Exactly what you need to start building the life you deserve. The link is in the description below for you to check out. Now, let's get started. The power of tiny wins. I have come to understand that every action I take is like casting a vote. A small, yet significant vote for the kind of person I want to be. When I wake up, make a healthy breakfast, or even take a moment to meditate, I'm not just going through the motions. I'm reinforcing the identity of someone who values well-being, discipline, and growth. I remember a time when I would set huge goals for myself. I want to run a marathon, I want to write a book, or I want to be more confident, but those goals always felt distant and overwhelming. It wasn't until I started breaking them down into tiny, manageable actions that I began to see real progress. Each small win, no matter how minor it seemed, became proof that I was evolving into the person I envisioned. And it's not just about achieving the goal. It's about proving to myself, over and over again, that I am capable of change. Every healthy meal, every minute spent reading, every moment of self-care is a vote for the future me, a me that is resilient, focused, and true to my values. I have learned that the key to lasting change is not simply about doing something new. It is about becoming someone new. Our current behaviors mirror the identity we hold, often subconsciously. For years, I carried the label of someone who is not disciplined or someone who is not motivated. I thought that was who I was. But what if I could change that identity? What if I could become the person who naturally makes healthy choices, who consistently writes, who never gives in to self-doubt? To change my behavior for good, I realized I had to start with a simple decision. Decide the type of person I want to be. I began by defining my ideal self, not in grandiose terms, but with small, clear actions. I told myself, I am the kind of person who takes care of my body, who prioritizes learning, and who shows up even when it's hard. Then came the small wins. I started by setting very modest goals. Read just 1 page a day, write for 5 minutes, take a 10-minute walk. It might have seemed trivial at first, but each of these actions a brick in the foundation of my new identity. Over time, those bricks built the wall of habits that supported the person I aspired to be. Every time I succeeded, no matter how small the task, I was voting for a new version of myself. And slowly, I began to see a shift. I wasn't just acting differently, I was becoming different. I learned that my identity isn't fixed. It's continuously sculpted by my choices. As I navigated my journey toward transformation, I found that lasting change wasn't about willpower or motivation alone. It was about structure, about crafting a system that made good habits inevitable and bad habits impossible to ignore. Through trial and error, I discovered 4 fundamental pillars that shaped my ability to build new behaviors and sustain them over time. 1. Create clear signposts. I used to believe that habits were purely a matter of discipline, but I've since learned that environment shapes behavior far more than sheer willpower. If I wanted to create change, I had to design my surroundings in a way that guided me effortlessly toward better choices. If I wanted to write more, I left my journal open on my desk. If I wanted to drink more water, I placed a full bottle right where I'd see it first thing in the morning. These small signposts acted as silent reminders, nudging me in the right direction before my mind could talk me out of it. But it wasn't just about adding cues. It was also about removing the ones that led me astray. I stopped keeping junk food within arm's reach, deleted distracting apps from my phone, and placed my workout clothes right next to my bed. With every small shift in my surroundings, I was setting myself up for success before I even had to think about it. 2. Attach meaning to the habit. For years, I struggled to build new habits because they felt like chores, things I had to do rather than things I wanted to do. But everything changed when I connected those habits to something meaningful. Instead of seeing exercise as a tedious task, I reframed it as an act of self-respect, a commitment to taking care of the body that carries me through life. Instead of forcing myself to wake up early, I saw it as a gift, quiet moments before the world woke up, where I could focus on my dreams without interruption. I also learned to pair habits with things I already enjoy. If I wanted to make reading a daily ritual, I allowed myself to sip my favorite coffee while flipping through a book. If I dreaded workouts, I listened to music that fueled my energy. By linking new behaviors to existing pleasures, I made them something to look forward to rather than something to endure. 3. Lower the barrier to action. One of the biggest mistakes I used to make was setting the bar too high. I would tell myself I needed to meditate for 30 minutes, run 5 miles, or write 2,000 words in a day. And every time I fell short, I felt defeated. Then I learned the power of starting small. If I wanted to read more, I committed to just 1 page a day. If I wanted to write, I promised myself just a single sentence. These were goals so ridiculously easy that I had no excuse not to follow through. The irony. Once I got started, I almost always did more. That 1 page often turned into 10. That single sentence led to a full paragraph. The hardest part was always starting. But once I removed the pressure of a big commitment, I no longer had a reason to procrastinate. The lesson: make starting effortless. Want to work out? Begin with 5 minutes. Want to eat healthier? Add 1 vegetable to your plate. Tiny steps, taken consistently, build unshakable habits. 4. Celebrate small victories. In the past, I would only celebrate success when I reached a big milestone. But the problem with that mindset was that major progress takes time, and without immediate rewards, motivation starts to fade. So instead of waiting for some grand achievement, I started celebrating small wins. I acknowledged every time I showed up, no matter how insignificant it seemed. I kept a habit tracker where I marked off each successful day, letting the visual proof of my progress build momentum. I also learned that rewards didn't have to be material. Sometimes, the greatest reward was simply recognizing my growth, the satisfaction of knowing I had kept a promise to myself. Over time, the act of progress itself became its own motivation. Lasting change isn't built on dramatic overhauls. It's built on the foundation of small, consistent choices, decisions that seem almost insignificant in the moment but accumulate into something powerful over time. If you're struggling to build better habits, start here. Adjust your environment. Find meaning in your actions. Lower the barrier to entry. Celebrate every step forward. These 4 principles transformed the way I approach habits, and they can do the same for you. The person you want to become isn't created in a single day. They are sculpted through a series of daily choices that, over time, shape the trajectory of your life. So today, take 1 small step, just 1, and trust that it's leading you exactly where you're meant to be. The danger of clinging to old identities. For a long time, I was shackled by an old identity, a version of myself that I believed was unchangeable. I thought I was bad at time management or not disciplined enough, but these labels were nothing more than the result of habits I had formed over the years. I realized that if I continued to act according to that outdated identity, I would never be able to break free from it. Instead, I had to let go of those limiting beliefs and embrace the possibility that I could be different. It wasn't easy. Old habits have a way of clinging on, whispering that change is impossible. But every time I made a small change, a few extra minutes of planning, a bit more focus on my priorities, I chipped away at that old identity. I learned that our identities aren't carved in stone. They're fluid, shaped by our daily actions. And when we start making conscious choices that reflect who we want to be, we create a new narrative for ourselves, one that's full of potential and possibility. Living with intention. How small habits influence big changes. It's astonishing to think that the decisions we make every day, often without even noticing, are the ones that define us. I used to wake up and let my day unfold without much thought, only to look back and wonder how I ended up feeling drained, unfulfilled, or out of sync with my true self. Then I began to live with intention. I started to ask myself, what do I want my day to look like? What kind of person do I want to be today? These questions transformed my mornings. Instead of hitting the snooze button and drifting through the day, I set a small intention. Whether it was to be more mindful, to show kindness to someone, or to tackle one challenging task. Over time, these small, intentional acts added up. They created a momentum that carried me forward, even on days when motivation was low. I discovered that when I aligned my habits with my core values, I wasn't just surviving, I was thriving. I realized that success isn't a destination, it's a journey. And that journey is paved with countless small victories. Each time I made a healthy choice, each time I took a step toward my goal, I was affirming my identity as someone capable, resilient, and worthy of success. The inner critic and the battle within. No journey of self-improvement is without its internal battles. There's a voice inside all of us, the inner critic, that loves to remind us of our flaws, our past failures, and our limitations. I've spent countless hours wrestling with that voice, trying to silence it, to quiet its negative influence. But what if I told you that your inner critic isn't a sign of weakness? Instead, it's a reflection of the past, of the habits and beliefs you've outgrown. To truly change, you must start by reprogramming that inner dialogue. I began to challenge my inner critic with the same method I applied to building new habits. I identified its cues, negative thoughts that would creep in during moments of doubt. I replaced them with affirmations, small victories, and evidence of my growth. Over time, those little changes in my inner dialogue made a huge difference. I started to believe that I was capable of more than I had ever imagined. Remember, every time you push back against that inner critic, you're casting a vote for the person you want to become. It's not about ignoring your flaws, it's about choosing to focus on your strengths, your potential, and the small wins that prove you can overcome anything. The ripple effect of small changes. One of the most remarkable things I've discovered on this journey is the ripple effect of small changes. When I started making intentional choices, it wasn't just my habits that changed. It was my entire outlook on life. My relationships improved, my work became more fulfilling, and I found a sense of purpose that I had long been searching for. I began to see that every positive action I took created ripples that spread outwards, touching every aspect of my life. The way I treated myself influenced how others treated me. When I started prioritizing self-care, I noticed that people responded with kindness and respect. When I began to show up for my goals, opportunities that once seemed out of reach started to materialize. This ripple effect isn't limited to personal success, it's a powerful force for change in the world. When we all commit to making small, positive changes, we collectively build a better future. Every habit, every decision, every action counts. And together, they create a movement, a silent revolution of transformation that begins with one person and spreads to everyone around them. Embracing the journey of transformation. As I reflect on my journey, I'm reminded that change isn't about perfection. It's about progress. Every day, I have the opportunity to cast another vote for the person I want to be. It's not always easy. There are setbacks, moments of doubt, and times when the old habits seem too comfortable to break. But each small step forward is proof that I'm capable of transformation. If you're watching this and feeling overwhelmed by the idea of change, remember this: you are not defined by your past. You are not limited by the habits you once had. Every moment is a fresh start, a new opportunity to choose a different path. Embrace the power of tiny wins, and know that even the smallest change can lead to extraordinary results. The journey of self-improvement is ongoing. There will be days when you feel unstoppable, and days when you struggle to get out of bed. But every day, with every choice, you are shaping your future. The person you become is the sum of all your small victories, a mosaic of persistence, courage, and unwavering determination. If this message resonates with you, please take a moment to share one identity-based habit you're working on in the comments below. Your story might just inspire someone else who's on the same journey. And if you found value in this video, hit the like button, subscribe, and share it with anyone who might need that extra push to start building the life they deserve. Also, if you're struggling with your inner critic or need guidance on how to make lasting changes, I invite you to check out my book Get Out of Your Head. It's available on Amazon in paperback, Kindle, and audiobook formats. The link is in the description below. In it, I take a deep dive into silencing that nagging voice inside our heads, overcoming fear, and transforming our lives through small, powerful changes. Remember, success isn't about making one giant leap. It's about taking one small step at a time. You have the power to reshape your identity, to redefine your life, and to create a future filled with possibility. Embrace every small win, celebrate your progress, and never underestimate the power of tiny changes. Until next time, keep casting those votes for the future you want. You are capable, you are resilient, and you have the strength to become exactly who you are meant to be. Let's continue this journey together, one habit, one day, one victory at a time. Thank you for watching. Let's build a better future, one small, powerful change at a time.